Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Indian Autos Blog. My name is Suvil and I am at Madras Motor Racetrack to test ride the motorcycle that you see on your screens. That is the BS6 Apache RR 310. The motorcycle has received all the upgrades that are required to comply with the BS6 emission norms, but TVS has also added loads of features that make it smarter than the vehicle that it replaces. Before we get into the finer details, let me just give you a quick walk around of how the motorcycle looks. You would immediately notice that the styling cues are carried forward from the BS4 Apache RR 310. Thus, you would find the bi-LED headlight at the front, full LED indicators, LED tail light at the back, thus completing the full LED lighting system on the vehicle. You would also see a very familiar looking windscreen at the front with a tricolor logo on the side and a bubble style design. From the sides, once again, you would find a very familiar looking fuel tank, the fairing, the side panels, the split style seats, this very sharp looking body panel that extends towards the back. So the styling has not received many changes, but TVS has added a new paint option to the list, and that is the titanium black color. That's the motorcycle in front of you. Apart from this, the motorcycle, the RR 310, is also available in red color option, the racing red color option. Now, while the styling has not changed drastically, the instrument cluster has received a major upgrade, and the display is now a 5-inch full color TFT display. You would notice that it still has a vertical layout, something that we saw on the BS4 model, but all the information is now displayed on a color TFT display. There are these neat carbon fiber style textures on either side that give it a very nice and a sporty look. Let me just give you a quick run through of all the features on the 5-inch color TFT display. The motorcycle gets 4 riding modes, and all the 4 riding modes affect the way this instrument cluster displays information. A rider can switch between the riding modes on the go using this new updated switch gear that is installed on the left side of the handlebar. So right now it's in the urban mode, and thus you would see this tachometer that runs from left to right in this way. There is the speedometer, that's your fuel gauge on this side, on the left side of the screen, and a temperature gauge on the right side of the screen. Below the speedometer is your gear position indicator, and next to the gear position indicator are the warning signs. Right now it's showing low fuel on the left side, it's showing the side stand warning and the kill switch that is currently engaged. So all the warnings are displayed on either side of the gear position indicator. Then there are these 4 widgets that can be customized as per your need to display information that you might want to keep handy. Right now it's set to show the lap timer, the top speed, the odometer reading, and the fuel range. If I toggle between the modes and go to the rain mode, you would notice that the layout has changed. There's a rain pattern design that sits behind the speedometer, and it gets a blue shade, as you would notice. If I switch to the sport mode, the entire display changes, and you would see this gear position indicator in the center, the speedometer sits on the top, your fuel gauge is on the left side, your temperature gauge is on the right. All the warning indicators are placed on either side of the screen. Low fuel on the left hand side, side stand and the kill switch warning on the right side. It also shows you the odometer and the fuel range. And lastly, if I go into the track mode, it just shows you all the necessary information that you might need to know. So you have this massive tachometer in the center of the screen. Your gear position indicator is on the right hand side of the display. Right above the tachometer is your speedometer. All the warning indicators come to the bottom of the screen, and you would notice that it does not show any readings like the odometer or the distance to empty or similar information. So if I press the set button, you get into the menu where you are greeted with 4 options: ride mode, trip details, my vehicle, and preferences. If I go into the ride mode, there are the 4 riding modes: that you can select from. All these modes are preset and you cannot make any changes to them. So there's your urban mode, rain mode, sport mode and track mode. If I go back and get into the trip details, you have 3 trip meters that give you various readings like the total distance covered, the total time traveled, average speed, top speed, fuel consumed and average fuel economy. And if I go into the my vehicle setting, it has a service tab that shows you the next service due date and the service since and the days since last service, the days and the kilometers since last service. In performance record, it shows you the fuel economy, it shows you the speed, your average speed, your 0 to 60 timer and your top speed. And in the laps column, all the lap timings are recorded. In the preferences menu, you have connectivity that you can use to connect the display to a smartphone device. In the display settings, you can control the brightness. Right now it's set on auto, but you can change it manually. There are 10 levels of brightness available. There's also a clock, a date setting and a day and night mode setting. Now the day and night mode setting is available either in auto, where a light sensor senses the light conditions around you and changes the background of the display. Right now it's set on auto, but if you go into manual, you have the option to either use it in a day mode where the background has a bright color, or use it into a night mode that gives a dark shade to the background of the display. You can leave it on auto and a light sensor will keep changing the background depending on the light conditions. The custom widgets that we showed you on various modes, in the urban mode you would remember that they were positioned on the lower part of the screen. You can customize them using this setting, the custom widget setting, and you can select from odometer, your fuel economy and loads of other options and customize the menu as per your preference. TVS has also added a hazard light switch to the mix, and it is easily accessible on the left hand side of the handlebar. There's also a pass switch that integrates the high and low beam, so if you push it forward it's in high, if you pull it back it's low beam. There's the control for your indicators and the horn. The other side has an engine kill switch that has been integrated into the ignition button. Let us talk about the engine. The motorcycle continues to use a 312.2cc single cylinder liquid cooled reverse inclined engine, but the power and torque output numbers are affected by the riding mode that is selected. So the sport and the track mode give you access to all the power that is available, that is 34 PS of peak power at 9700 rpm and 27.3 Newton meters of torque at 7700 rpm. The urban and the rain mode reduce the power output to 25.8 PS at 7600 rpm and 25 Newton meters at 6700 rpm. The top speed too is restricted to 125 kilometers per hour in the urban and the rain mode. Let me just fire up the engine for you to hear the exhaust note. That's how it sounds on idle. That's around 4000 rpm. And that's towards the higher rev band. The ABS settings are also tweaked depending on the riding mode that you have selected. So the rain mode has the most amount of intrusion, while the track mode has the least amount of ABS intrusion. Apart from that, TVS has also added its glide through traffic technology, although it has added a plus tag ahead of the glide through traffic name, and that is primarily to distinguish it from the setup that is seen on the Apache RTR 200 4V, The setup on the Apache RTR 204V works in the first, second and the third gear, while the GTT Plus system on the RR 310 works in all the 6 gears. In the 6th gear, without any throttle input, the speed of the motorcycle is locked to 35 kilometers per hour. So even without any throttle inputs, the motorcycle will keep moving forward at 35 kilometers per hour. Now do not confuse this for cruise control system. It is not a cruise control system. It is just a little bit of convenience that TVS has added to the motorcycle. Now if I talk about the hardware, braking setup and the suspension setup is carried forward from the BS4 model, and thus you would find a 300mm pedal type disc at the front and a 240mm pedal type disc at the rear. Dual channel ABS is part of the package, and the ABS intrusion, as I have already told you, changes depending on the riding mode that is selected. The shock absorption setup again is carried forward from the BS4 model, and thus you have KYB sourced upside down telescopic forks at the front and KYB sourced preload adjustable monoshock at the back. The rider's triangle is on the sporty side, and these clip-on style handlebars give you a forward leaning riding stance. The motorcycle has been launched in the Indian market at an ex-showroom Delhi price tag of 2,40,000. Overall, TVS has improved the value for money proposition of the motorcycle. This is not the first sub 500cc motorcycle in the Indian market to get riding modes, but this is the first sub 500cc motorcycle in the Indian market that changes the power output numbers depending on the riding modes, which is a very neat feature considering the safety aspect or the situations that a rider may face while riding in the rains. The updated setup also comprises these new tires. So TVS has replaced the Michelin tires from the BS4 model for new Michelin tires. These are the Michelin Road 5 dual compound tires that are claimed to offer superior wet grip and cornering capabilities. We can vouch for the cornering capabilities. These tires feel a lot more planted as compared to the tires that were seen on the BS4 model. We cannot really comment about the wet grip of the tires because we have not had the opportunity to ride the motorcycle in wet conditions. So that was our quick take on the BS6 TVS Apache RR 310. Do let us know your views about the video and the motorcycle in the comment section. If you liked the video, do share it with your family and friends. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we upload a new video. Till next time, this is Suvil signing off.